Welcome everybody. This is Dawn's 12:30 class. We are an intermediate class, but boy do we have a nice song today. We are going to be doing Bridge Over Troubled Water, and it's by Simon and Garfunkel, and I'm going to push a little harder on this one. Why? Because I can. But I also want you to know that if you are a beginning intermediate student, please do not feel that you have to do any of my extra things. If you learn thing, one thing by coming to this class, then you are 100% successful. So don't feel like you have to learn absolutely everything that I'm going to do today. All right, this was written by Paul Simon, and it was recorded by Simon and Garfunkel in 1970. The song won 5 awards at the 13th Annual Grammy Awards in 1971, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. For good reason, it's a great song. It became their biggest hit single and is often considered their signature song. It was #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 weeks in a row. Nice. It became one of the most performed songs of the 20th century with over 50 artists. Wow. Now that's, they say that, copying somebody is the greatest form of flattery. 50 artists copied this song, including Elvis, Aretha Franklin, and Johnny Cash. Pretty nice. The song was composed very quickly. Paul Simon asked himself, oh my, wow, where did that come from? Because he wasn't used to writing things that fast. But the entire concept and the concept was inspired by Claude Jeter's line, I'll be your bridge over deep water if you trust in my name, in the 1958 song, Mary, Don't You Weep. So he kind of took a line from another, not secular, from a sacred song and just kind of switched it around. Yes, this is kind of gospel-y stuff. Simon acknowledged his debt to Jeter by giving him a check. He gave him some royalty checks. Pretty nice, huh? Simon also named Johann Sebastian Bach's O Sacred Head Now Wounded as the source of inspiration for parts of the melody. So he really did some gospel stuff when he did this one. Simon originally wrote the song on the guitar, but transposed it to the piano to better reflect the gospel influence and to suit Garfunkel's voice. Now, this is one that he decided that Mr. Garfunkel should sing this all by himself. He thought that would be better, even though he chimed in and did some duet work with him in the song. Basically, this is an Art Garfunkel singing song. And I'll tell you what, if you go to Wikipedia, it will even tell you that he got a little jealous sometimes of the popularity of the song and the fact that Art Garfunkel was the one getting center stage at all of the concerts because it was only him singing the song. And this, I guess Simon was caught being overheard in the wings of the stage saying, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. That's my song. Because he wrote it. So, yeah, kind of regretted not doing some more singing on the song. But that's okay because, we're all human beings. And that just shows how human that we all can be, even at that level of celebrityism, if that's a word. All right. So, what are we doing for this song? First, I think I'm just going to play it. And then we'll go over roadmap. We'll go over extra chords. We still have people coming in. Nice. And remember, you do not need any of the extra chords, so don't worry. And I did write an introduction. Again, you do not need the introduction, but you know where to find it if you want it. And if you at all like my arrangement or even parts of it, I actually wrote out this arrangement too. But this is what I'm saying is you do not have to do any of this stuff. This is just extra stuff. It's bonus stuff for those people that want to be challenged a little bit more and want to be pushed a little bit. So it's here for you. Just email me afterwards and I'll make sure that you get whatever it is that you want. Okay, so let me play it first. And here we go, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Start. fade it out. Okay.
Dawn,
Yes.
I'm tearing up here.
You
This
are.
was my grandma's favorite song, and I always played it for her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Uh-oh. Did I? It looks like I removed everybody from the meeting except a couple people. What the heck happened? Oh, no, you're all still there.
no,
Just
we're here.
that your names are all gone.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Your names have all disappeared.
Aha, test.
Oh, there they are. Oh,
It's a good thing you know everybody.
oh, I know. It's crazy. No. My Zoom thing is doing crazy things today because when I went into my meeting the normal way, it showed that I have nothing scheduled and nothing there. I'm like, okay. So I went into the website the way you guys always come in. So it's technology, you know.
Well, that's how I got into.
Yep. Okay, so I did an arrangement. I probably could have tweaked it and done even more fun things with it. But if you want to know everything that I did, I'm not going to explain it all. Try to take a few notes and see if you can guess what I did, or at least mark where I changed. I can tell you where I made the changes, and I can always scan this to you because that's exactly what I did. Now, what kind of backgrounds work on this? Oh, I forgot to write them down. Great, they're in my other book. This I'm doing at Smooth Piano 4/4 at 75 beats a minute. I started at rhythm preset 0. 0 because you have a piano strings on top and you have an English horn on the bottom. English horn is very similar to an oboe. On the other instruments, any of your smooths will work. This is one that you can find probably 100 different backgrounds to make it work. You might even want to try like a soft gospel since he did do some gospel things with this. All right, let's see.
Dawn, it's in song setup,
Yeah. On some instruments it is. Let
but
me
it's
see.
but it's organ. They use an organ.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, you can never go wrong with a good organ. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Let me see what song setup
And
is
a
on
choir
this.
too.
Sometimes it's different in different organs as well.
The
Okay.
Inspire is pop piano.
Pop piano. I bet you that's pretty. Let's see if it's here. Yeah, this one brings it up actually to soft gospel at 72, which is very close. And it's giving me vocals, but I tried a couple of different things. I just went through all the soft and easies, and I really like that Smooth Piano 4/4. The only thing I didn't like about, okay, somebody else asked me this yesterday. The only thing I didn't like about that Smooth Piano 4/4 is I didn't think the fill-in worked all that well with the song. So I didn't use it as much as I usually do. When I forgot and did it, I was like, oops, I remember I didn't want to use that one because the fill-in on Smooth 4/4 for me didn't sound correct on this song, so I just kind of left it alone and didn't do any fill-ins. I could have probably done some of this, and it would have done just as fine. All right, here's the reason. Dawn, do you post your handouts on Patreon when Robert posts the class? I could, but I'm a little worried. Let me pause. Okay.
Dawn, I have a question.
Yes.
And if you use gospel, which one did you use?
Soft gospel. Now that's actually under soft and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soft gospel is what comes up under the song setup. But try all of your slower things. Because remember, this does have a gospel-y influence, which is why I started with the piano and then went to the piano strings. And then that English horn on the bottom was just very haunting, so I just left it. And I was also trying to make a fairly easy arrangement where I was just punching one button things. I did things like adding a duet. I added a duet several times where I just started with the single note and then put the duet in for the second part. All right, let's talk about the roadmap first of all, because that's always a little bit confusing. Follow the lyrics. They will always tell you where you need to go. The first verse is all of the first page. the second page, the first.
Excuse me, Dawn.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Before you start that, I knew to use our classes. I live in Sun City,
Okay.
but I do not have your email. Can you post that or send that? Because I would really appreciate your intro, etc.
Okay. My email here, write it down, is 5058. It's a number, 50. I'm sorry.
I
That's
thought
not
it
right.
was two. I thought
You
it
know, I'm
was
doing
two.
two things at a time. I'm trying to let people in. It's 5028.
2A.
5028 at FletcherMusic.com.
Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome. I'm trying to do three things at once. So,
You're doing pretty good.
all right. Your first ending starts on the second page, the end of line 3. You've got a 1 with a bracket, and then it goes all the way across the 4th line and then ends. At the end of line 4, you have 2 dots, a thin line and a thick line. Those are your repeat dots. Use a highlighter. Make it a color. The colors actually make it easier to see where you're going. Where does that send you back to? The dots that are facing forward at the beginning of the song. You have your pickup notes when you're down and out. If you read the lyrics, it'll always take you where you need to go. The second time, take a different color, second time, you're going to skip the first ending. So I always like to put a little 2 right before the first ending and then trace the 2 or just color it in for the second ending. So the second time you know pink 2 goes to pink 2. Does that make sense? You're going to completely skip the first ending and jump down to the second ending. Now that's an open bracket, which means now we continue. Now we continue. So you turn the page and it looks like you're just finishing the song. So nothing super hard as far as a roadmap. But that first ending is a little long, so the hardest part is actually going from second ending down to the second ending. You just got to make sure that you're color coded so your eyes can see exactly where you're going. All right, any questions about the roadmap? No? Okay, let's add some chords. Now again, if you do not want any of the extra chords, no worries. You can go get a cup of coffee right now if you want. But extra chords will enhance your song, and they're not difficult. Some of them, some of them. But if you learn one new chord every time you play the song, or try it and go, well, I don't like the way that one sounds, or that one's too hard to play, just skip it and just play the chords that are written. You'll be fine. This song is too pretty not to play because Dawn put in too many chords, okay? Let's go to line 1. No changes. Perfect.
Yay!
Line 2. The F is good for 2 counts. Over the B flat for tears, put a B flat. Play your B flat with your thumb, B flat chord. And over the A for R, beat 4, go back to the F. So you're going to have 3 chords in a row. B flat, F, C. Easy stuff though, it's all one finger. Let's go to line 3. The C is good for 2 counts. Over the C half note, put an F. And the next measure, cross out the F and substitute a C, chicken, for 2 counts. And then 2 beats into that measure, go back to the F. All right, the C chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the D quarter note for on. Put in a G, gorilla. Beat 4 over the C for the word your. Put in an A minor, alligator minor, which is C and A. The last line, the last measure. The C is good for 2 counts. In the middle of the measure, you're going to put a C major 7. C major 7, capital M-A-J 7. It's 2 notes, C and B, chickens and butterflies. Or if you want to play B and C, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. When you get to this level, you can start moving your hand a little bit out of the box. Top of the second page, first measure. Over the quarter rest, beat 1. Put your C7, C and B flat, and then beat 3, cross that C7 out and throw it away. We're just basically moving the C7 over. The rest of the line is perfect, just the way it is. Line 2. Here we go with a couple of chords you may not like, but that's okay. The F chord is good for 3 counts. Over the A quarter note, beat 4, put in a C diminished, C, D-I-M. It's only 2 notes. You can cheat and write them in. It's C and F sharp. The next measure, the C is good for 2 counts. Make the A an A sus, S-U-S. That's a suspended 4th chord. Or you can make it an A sus with the 7th on it already. All right, your notes for an A sus are D as in dinosaur, E as in elephant, and A as in alligator. If you want to add the 7, it's a G. So D-E, G-A. Here comes Genevieve. Okay. And that's good for 1 count. Then it has to resolve itself. Beat 4 over the G for ter, water. Now put your A or A7 back in. So what you're actually hearing is this. I don't know if you could hear all of that. That was probably a little better to hear. It resolves itself. The suspended chords are just that they hang. They're suspended in air. They hang there. And normally, those have to resolve back to the same letter of the chord. So the A sus goes to an A or an A7. The rest of the line is good, F and E7. Let's go to the 3rd line. 2nd measure. The F chord is good for 3 counts. Over the A quarter note for beat 4, put in a C diminished, C-D-I-M. Remember the rules for diminished are the letter plus 6. So it's going to be a C and an F sharp. The first ending, the C is good for 2 counts. Make the A an A sus, an A suspended 4th, or an A7 sus. So it's either going to be D, E, A, dinosaurs, elephants, and alligators, or it's going to be D, E, G, A. And that adds the 7.
Wait, Dawn,
Yes?
could you repeat that? What line? I got lost.
Oh, we're on line 3.
Yeah.
First ending. The A chord in the first ending. Make it an A sus.
A sus. Okay.
Yep. And that's good for 1 count. Over the G quarter note for ter. Now resolve it. Go to an A or an A7, which is
Do an
G
A7
and A.
then.
Now the next line, perfect just the way it is. The second ending, no changes. Let's turn the page. See, if you learn just one of these chords, you're going to be successful. Okay. Top of page 52, the 3rd page. That very first beat in the first measure, put an F chord there. Then the next measure, over the G for silver, put a C chord. By the way, Silver Girl was actually in reference to his wife, who looked in the mirror and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm coming in gray."
Dawn, what was the first chord that you put in on that line?
F fish.
F. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Thank
Yep,
you.
so Silver Girl, some people have interpreted that as meaning drugs. It has nothing to do with drugs. It had to do with his wife seeing some gray in her hair, and that's it. So that was actually an added verse. This last verse was actually added after the song was originally written.
What was that chord for that track?
It's F for the first measure, first
Yeah.
beat of the first measure, and C, chicken, for the first beat of the second measure.
Got it.
Let's go to the second line. Second measure, the F is good for 2 counts. Over the B flat for the word time, put a B flat. Over the A for has, go back to the F, fish. The C is good. Let's go to the third line, second measure. The C is good for 2 counts. Over the C half note for way, put in an F, fish. The last measure, cross out the F and substitute C, chicken, for 2 counts. Halfway through the measure, go back to F. You're just going back and forth between C and F. Fourth line, the C chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the D for how. Put in a G, gorilla. Beat 4 over the C for they. Put in an A minor, C and A. The G is good. You can play the G7 in the last measure if you want. Remember, 7s are always optional. Let's go to the last line. The C chord is good for 2 counts. Over the E for friend, put in a C major 7. A C major 7, which is C and B. Remember the rules for major 7s is the letter -1. It's the key right next door to the left.
Excuse me, Dawn,
Yes.
can you start with the fourth line,
The fourth line,
the second measure? Can you repeat that, please?
the fourth line, the first measure, you have a G in the third beat and an A minor in the fourth beat. And that's it for that whole line. The fifth one,
Dawn,
yes.
you had said for a major chord, it is the letter -1 to the left, but this is a major 7. What's the,
It's a major 7 is the rule 1 to the left. A major chord is just the letter itself. If you're playing just a C, that's a C major chord.
okay,
Okay?
thank you.
If it's a major 7, it's 1 to the left. The letter plus 1 to the left, which is the major 7.
Got it.
Okay.
Time continued, Dawn, on line 4.
You're confused on line 4?
Yes, just a continuation after the G chord.
You have a C for 2 counts. Then you have a G over the D for the word how. And then beat 4 over the C for the word they. You have an A minor, C and A.
Nothing else?
Nothing else. That's it for that line.
Okay, thank you.
In that fifth line, second measure, you see a C7 there. Put a box around it. You probably should play it because what you're doing is you're actually doing a nice chord progression from the C to the C major 7 to the C7. Hear how pretty that is?
Mhm.
So play the C, then the C major 7, then the C7, and you're going to hear how beautiful that sounds.
Dawn, excuse me again.
Go ahead.
When they have the C7 and they don't put a box around it, what does that mean? If you don't
All
have-
that means is that's one I want you to play. See, C7s are normally, all the 7s are normally optional. This is one I don't want you to make optional. I want you to play it.
Okay,
That's when I say put a box around it, that means Dawn says play this chord.
okay, good. You do what Dawn does.
It's a DSS. It's a Dawn says so. I didn't think of that either. A customer thought of that a year ago. All right, let's go to 53 top line. Second measure. The F chord is good for 3 counts. Beat 4. Over the A for ver, over, put in a C diminished. C, D, I, M, and that's C and F sharp. It's just a 2-fingered chord. No changes for the rest of the line. Line 2, the F chord is good for 2 counts. Cross out the E and replace it with A minor for 1 count. So write small. A minor is C and A, and then beat 4 over the B for the word your. Now put your E chord back in. The A minor is fine. The C or C7 is fine. The F chord is fine. Cross out the D at the end of the line and replace it with F major 7. F major 7. That's an E and F. Easier to play than it is to write. And
Right.
that's good for one count. Then the last note is a D, beat 4. Put your D back in and you can make it a D7 if you wish.
Don, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I missed the first line of the page we're on.
The first line of page 53.
Yes, please.
Okay. Measure 2, beat 4. Over that A quarter note, put in a C diminished, which is C and F sharp.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only change in the first line.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And there are no more changes.
Oh,
No more changes. That's it. So you do have a few chords. So if you're just now learning some of your chords, the major 7s are going to be your easy ones to learn because, again, it's the letter -1, and it's a jazz chord, and it sounds really cool. The diminished chords are the letter +6, and they sound pretty neat too, but the suspended chords take a little bit more work. If you're going to skip a chord, the A suspended chord would be the one that I would skip. And again, if you only learn one chord every time you sit down to play the song, you're 100% successful. If you don't use any of my chords and just play the song the way it is, it's going to sound beautiful. This is just a nice, nice song. Okay, let me tell you where I put the changes. Okay, so that when you get this sheet, when you get that one, you'll know where the changes are. All right, A0 is the intro. A0. A1 with a little L starts the beginning of the song, When You're Weary. A1 with an L. I'm on the lower keyboard. I'm playing. Whoops, I'm not playing that. I'm playing. It's actually an English horn, and it sounds to me like it's layered with a flute. You could actually use a flute. That would be a pretty sound to use, too. All right, then when you get to line 3, between the second and the third measure, you're going to put A2, comma, A4, because you're going to have to go back and play that twice. So A2, comma, A4. And A2 you can do A2 with a little L, and A4 you can do with a little U. That just tells you upper or lower keyboard.
Mhm. Mhm.
And where were you putting that
You're
notation?
putting that between the second and the third measure of the third line. Right before you do, I'm on your side. You want to make a change.
Okay, thanks.
Now, if you're not doing any of the changes, just where I'm telling you, that's a good place to add a duet. You might just want to write in add duet, especially if you're on like an easy 10 or something where you can't actually change your presets. Just put add duet. It's going to do just fine.
Mhm.
Dawn,
Yes.
at that point, is it the A2 or the A4? You go to the lower.
The A2 is an L. You're going to stay.
Ah,
A1 is an L. A2 is an L. A4 is a U.
gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, and then when you mark these in, the next time I play it, I'm going to use the same arrangement. Then you can check where my hand is and go, aha, that's what's going on. At the end of the first ending, line 4 of the second page, right before you get to when you're, those are your pickup notes. You want to always make sure you change your preset before the pickup notes. So in those rests someplace, you've got a half rest and then you've got a quarter rest. You want to write A3 with a U because you're going to go to the upper keyboard. A3. Turn the page. At the top of the third page, page 52, as soon as you play that F chord, you're going to now start a new verse. So you want to put in A5 with an L. Go to the lower keyboard. And again, if you're not able to save your presets, Just poke a preset. If you're on an easy 10, you've got all these presets here, just poke one. You can choose upper or lower, which one's going to sound the best. You have control over duet or not duet.
Dawn,
Yes.
that A5, you're putting it over the right by the rest on that top line,
No.
not
No.
the first F?
No. Before that. Before you do Sail On Silver Girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you want A5?
Yes. A5.
Thank you.
Because you're starting a new verse. Sail On Silver Girl is the last verse. So you want to make sure that you're changing a preset before you get to that.
Okay, thank you.
Then when you get to the beginning of line 4, you're going to stay on A5. You're just going to go to the upper keyboard. So just put a little U or write upper, or don't write an A5 again because you don't want to push another preset. You're still on the same preset. You're just going to go from lower to upper. And remember, you always go the diagonal. You always want to go the diagonal. The last line of page 52. Right before you do I'm sailing right behind. Right after you play that C7 chord that I told you to put in a box, you're going to hit the A6. And A6, you're going to have full-on harmonies and add your organs and add strings. And if you want to add, you can add any tab or string vocal ensemble that you want and just make it as big as you want for that last part. And that's it. That's it.
And that's upper, right? Stay
yes.
upper?
Stay in the upper, yes. Yep. All right. So those are where changes can be made. And that doesn't mean you have to follow my arrangement exactly. Also, this time I want you to listen to what am I doing in the background. I'm changing some things in the background. Now, do you have to? No. You don't have to do anything. If the only thing you do is change a different preset or push a duet, you're going to be successful with this song. If all you do is play one part of the song here and one part of the song here and then go back to here and then go back, you're going to be 100% successful. So please do not feel like I'm demanding that you do all these extra things in an intermediate class. It's just such a
Dawn?
nice song that I did a little bit more with this song. Go ahead.
Dawn, at the top of the page, you have A5L.
Yes, that means go to your lower keyboard.
Yes. Where did you change to A5U?
The beginning of line 4, right before you start to do See How They Shine.
Okay. I see. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and again, these are just places to put a change. You don't have to use those places. You really want to do the end of a verse or the end of a chorus. Yes?
A1. Where did you put A1?
A1 starts the song. Right before
Okay.
When You're Weary. A3 starts at the end of the first ending in the rest, right before you do When You're Down and Out. Because you want to make sure A3 picks up that when you're.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A0 Dawn is the same as A1.
A1 starts right before you do When You're Weary.
Okay.
Or yeah, you could actually, if you wanted to go back to A1 to go back again, you could. See, this is it. You can turn this into your own arrangement. These are just places where I would suggest making a change somewhere. And a change could be changing a preset, adding a duet, adding an organ or string sound. These are things that you can change. All right. Then I'm going to do some background changes. Now the bigger organs have more access to background changes because you
Dawn,
Genie and Orc Plus. Yes.
I noticed I'm going on musicnote.com.
Uh-huh.
Their original published key was E flat.
Uh-huh.
Can we transpose this up to E flat?
Yeah, we transposed it up to the C or down to the C. Yeah, this had to be transposed down to C because in your Easy Play Music, they will absolutely put it in the easiest key for us to
Sure.
read.
But it's okay if we want to transpose it up right with our transposer? and play it in E flat?
Absolutely. You
Okay.
could. Now, do you know why it was written in E flat?
Go.
No, because that was the key that best suited Art Garfunkel's voice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
That's the only reason. See, so it
I
just
see.
depends on what sounds you're using. If you're going to use some horns that might actually go out of range, that would be when you'd want to transpose.
I see.
But that's what a lot of times songwriters will write songs for their singer. And so they'll watch the range and they'll write it in the key for that singer.
Understand. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay, you're welcome. They didn't, well, they did too have transpose back then. They did too. He could have written it in C and transposed it for him, but whatever. Okay. Any more questions before I play it again? And I want you to listen for what I'm doing in the background and where I'm making these changes. If you want me to tell you where I'm making a change, I can. But I want you to listen for what I'm actually doing.
Don,
Yes?
I missed the first part of the class. Could you tell me what you're using, what rhythm?
I'm using Smooth Piano 4/4 at 75. Rhythm preset 0, which is strings and piano on top and an English horn on the bottom. But that's not song setup. Song setup actually comes with to smooth or soft gospel with an organ sound. So, don't be afraid to try other things.
Okay, thank you.
You can use just about anything on this. It's one of those songs that, 50 artists did this, for Pete's sake. I'm sure they all picked different arrangements. This is the introduction. Here's A1. Just a single note, not a harmony. A2, add a duet. And drums. Oops, don't do that. Where you want to go to A3, back to the upper keyboard. I changed a few things in the background. A4, add a duet. going, golden harp. Good. Go to the upper keyboard. A6. Hit your fade out, or just fade it out with your foot.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, Dawn,
Yeah.
where'd you put the harp in there for it's going up and down?
Good. Yeah. I put the golden harp. I actually changed to altar style for A3, and then in A5, I went to the golden harp.
Okay.
A5 starts on the top of page 52.
You wrote that in on your remarks, right?
I wrote that all here, yep.
Okay, all right. I like that. It was pretty.
Yeah, that, and see, I'm not doing I'm changing the background just a little bit because it keeps each section fresh. And it just builds your arrangement. Now again, if you're thinking I'm way in over my head, don't, because you do not have to do everything that I did in this class. You can do just the song. You can say, I'm going to put it on smooth full band at 75, and I'm going to pick this sound and play. You're 100% successful, okay? All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good.
One question before you move on.
Okay.
Where do you have A4? I went from 3 to 5.
Oh.
Right under A2.
Yeah, right, the same place as A2. Thank you, yep.
Oh, okay. Oh,
A2, A4.
Dawn, I have a question.
Go ahead, Bev.
If I wanted to, let's use the harp for example. I loved when you put that in at A5, but then when you got to A6, if I wanted to remove that,
okay,
that's when I can just turn it off when I do my A6. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to tell you something. A6 I changed like 10 different times, and I'm still not happy with it. It's a little mushy for me. I think I'm putting in not the right sounds yet.
Yeah.
It got mushy. So, but I thought, all right, just pick one and go with it. I was at the end of my Saturday, and I was ready to go home. But I spent a lot of time on this song because it's gorgeous, and I love it.
It is. It's very pretty.
Yep. But I would have tweaked A6 a little bit differently. I'm just telling you what I did, and then you can go, yes, the harp is too much, take it out. I'd rather put in some vocals and some big horns, put those in. Whatever it is that you want to do to make that last preset your own and make it just a nice big ending preset, fireworks and fountains and, confetti and all that good stuff. So,
Duan,
yes.
on page 53, the second line,
Okay.
would you mind playing just the chord progression? I'd like to hear it.
Okay.
The chord changes.
Okay. Do you want me to just leave it on easy, or do you want it on a...
Just so I can hear it, doesn't matter.
All right. I'm going to just turn it on easy, and let's just play the chords. F. Could you hear them?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to also play it with the melody.
Clark Crest.
Did that help?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No?
Dawn?
Okay. Go ahead.
On the first page on line 3, I think I missed one of the chords.
Okay, first page, line 3. The C is good for 2 counts.
Right.
Over the C half
Uh-huh.
note is an F.
Right?
Next measure, cross out the F and put in a C. And halfway through that measure, beat 3, go back to F. The C chord is good for 2 counts. Over the D, beat 3, put in a G chord. And over the C, beat 4, put in an A minor chord.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay, thank you.
All right, somebody's using a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Up their organ.
All right. Okay.
Dawn,
Yes.
is alter style off when you start this
Yes.
song?
Yes. Alter style is off when you start.
And then it goes back on at the top of page 52.
I think that's where I put it in. Let's see.
Yeah.
I had and I also had the Orc Plus off, the Orc Plus off. A2, I added Orc Plus back in. A3, I added the alter style. A4, I added this. A5, I also added a drum variation along with the golden harp. So I'm working with those things. Genie, Orc Plus, or basic Orc Plus, depending on the organ you have.
Yes.
The drums, 1 and 2. Sometimes I'll change the bass. I did not change the bass on this one. The alter style and the golden harp. Those are things, and the only reason to follow along with my instructions are just to see where they are on my organ and what do they do.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you.
That's the whole reason for doing it. But that's a little bit more advanced. As a matter of fact, it's a lot more advanced. So if you're in this class, again, please do not think that this is the way all the classes go here. And you can keep it as easy as you want. This extra stuff is just because I got carried away and I knew there were going to be some people that were going to ask. All right. Next week, and I will do fingering yet, so don't go anywhere. Next week, we'll do Cats in the Cradle. Harry King.
Ooh.
That's a good song, too. Yep. Cats in the Cradle. This is a good book. There's some great songs in here. And the rest of you can now go to the beach, have a wonderful time, and I will see you all next week, or I'll see you in Friday's class or other times. And the rest of you stick around and let's do some fingering. Remember, my fingering is subjective to your fingers maybe not wanting to do what mine do. As long as you're making pretty music, you can erase mine, put your own in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody who's leaving. All right, F4, F4. E3, D2, C1. F4, G5, E3. Second line, A3, B flat 4, A3, G2. C5, A3. Check mark. That means you're going to lift your hand and reposition it. It's like taking a breath with your hand. A5. The third line is G4, E3, D2, C1, high C5. E3, D2, C1. Fourth line, D2, G5, G5, E3, D2, C1, C1, D2, E3. Top of the next page, G1, E5, D4, C3, D4, D4, E5, D4. Second line, C3, B2, A1, A1, G3, put a circle around the 3. That's your visual clue that it's a crossover. E1, G3, check mark. A1, C3, D4, E5, third line C3, E5, D4, C3. B2, A1. The first ending is A1. G3 with a circle around the 3. It's another crossover. E1, G3, check mark. Lift your hand. Fourth line, A1, C3, D4, E5, C3, check mark. Your pickup notes, F4, F4. Your second ending, A1, G2 with a circle, you're crossing it over, then A1 again. You're putting your 1 right back down. 1, crossover 1, C3, C3, D4, C3, B2, C3. All right, let's go to the next page. After that held C, check mark. You're going to start a new verse. You're going to the lower keyboard anyway. A4, A4, G3, F2, E1, A4, B5, G3, check mark. Lift your hand. Next phrase, A3, B flat 4, A3, G2, C5, A3, 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 G2, put an arrow on the A and make it a 4, G3, E2, C1. Now if you'd rather do a 3-2 crossover, that's okay. Line 4, E3, B2, C1, D2, G5, G5, G5. Next line, G5, F4, E3, check mark, G1, E5, D4, C3, D4. Top of the last page, D4, E5, D4, C3, B2, A1, A1, G2, put a circle around it, it's a crossover, A3, C5, check mark. Second line, C2, D3, C2, B1, C2, E4, D3, F5, E4, D3. Third line, E4, F5, E4, D3, C2, F5, F5, E4, D3, E4. And the last line, D3, C2. Remember, the golden rule is to always, always play the song the way you would sing it, which means you might hold one note a little longer and make another note a little shorter. Play it the way you would sing it or the way you remember Art Garfunkel singing it. You will be right. You will be right. Okay.
Dawn, I missed to say a phrase.
Which phrase did you miss?
On page 52, the first part of the fourth line.
First part of the third line. Okay.
Fourth,
52.
fourth line.
First part of the fourth line. Okay.
Yes.
E3, D2, C1, D2, G5.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. You are welcome. Anybody else? No? Okay. You guys are the bestest. Go to the beach. Have a fabulous day. Have a nice week. I'll see you next week. Some of you I will see in my Friday class. And love you guys. I really do.
Love you too. You do a great job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.